So in the time since our recent Sichuan spicy douhua video, our favorite Shenzhen restaurant in Shangmeiling got a bit of an upgrade. They moved into a larger space complete with an actually proper kitchen, which meant for us an expanded menu. There were a couple great additions, but our favorite's been their version of Suanni Bairou, spicy garlic pork. It's probably the first really excellent Suanni Bairou that I've ever eaten. So with theirs as a benchmark, we figured that it'd be a good time to finally tackle such a heavily requested classic. For the unaware though, Suanni Bairou is basically some thinly sliced fatty pork that's smothered with chili oil, seasoned soy sauce, and like a mountain of pounded garlic. It needs a bit of prep, but it can be made well in advance, so you can easily munch on it throughout the week. But right, to get started with spicy garlic pork, you'll need pork. This was 600 grams of pork from the ham of the pig, roughly 70% lean. Now the absolute ideal cut for this is called bhairo. It's from the very hind of the pig, which you can see here, illustrated with our top-notch graphic design skills. Now I know that the ham cut can actually be a bit hard to come by in the West, so feel free to swap for pork belly instead. But either way, just first soak that for at least 30 minutes in cool water to draw out the myoglobin. Now to help our slab of pork keep shape while poaching, we're skewering this guy in a few different directions. This is Steph's personal approach to make this a bit easier to cut in the end, so you can totally wrap in butcher's twine instead if you like. We were just fresh out. And now, to poach. So to a pot of cool water, first toss in 25 grams of scallions tied in a knot, 2 inches of smashed ginger, and a nice glug of liaojiu aka Shaoxing wine, about 2 tablespoons. Then nestle in the pork, cover, and bring that up to a boil. Then once it's at a rapid boil, keep that going for 12 minutes. We know that this isn't strictly poaching, but boiled pork doesn't really have the same ring to it. Then after that time, just shut off the heat, keep it covered, and don't peek. Let that naturally come back down to room temperature, about 2 to 3 hours, that process helping make for juicy pork. For the sauce, the first thing that you'll need is a 1/4 cup of a good quality homemade red chili oil. I know that that's a little annoying to call for, but if you're cooking Sichuan food, it's helpful to have a big batch handy. And definitely check out our Sichuan chili oil recipe up here if it's your first time. We'll also need a nice bit of the titular ingredient, garlic, about 1 small head's worth, finely minced, then tossed in a bowl and pounded for about 2 minutes. And finally, you'll need a 1/2 cup of seasoned soy sauce. It's another Sichuan staple, so just like chili oil, it makes the most sense to have a big batch and just have some extra lying around. To do just that, to a pot, toss in 1 cup of soy sauce, a 1/2 cup of water, 125 grams of slab sugar or dark brown sugar, 1 small cinnamon stick, 2 large dried bay leaves, 1 star anise, a 1/4 teaspoon of fennel seed, a couple pieces of sand ginger, and feel free to sub that with dried galangal, and 1 black cardamom pod slightly crushed open, and just skip that if you can't find it. Now cover, and over a medium flame, bring that all up to a boil. Then once it's good and bubbling, turn the flame to the lowest heat your stove will go, and let that simmer for 30 minutes, still covered. Then, after that time, check to see if the soy sauce is done by dipping in a spoon. If it coats the spoon in a thin, even layer, it's done, so shut off the heat, let it chill for a couple minutes, and strain that into a jar to keep. Back to our pork now. After a few hours, it should be cool enough. You'll be fine so long as you're looking at something under, say, 40 Celsius. Now take out the skewers, and let that dry off in the fridge until you're ready to serve, for at least 15 minutes, but longer would be okay and even recommended. But either way, we've now arrived at the one slightly challenging bit here, thinly slicing the pork. Keyword, thin. So find the widest side of your slab of ham and slice. What we're aiming for would be like a 1 or 2 on a deli slicer, so about 1 millimeter thick. If you're using pork belly instead, first make sure it's cut into about 3-inch wide strips, and then slice down in much the same way. Again, you will have some extra here, so save it and make some more Suan Ni Bai Rou, or fry up some huiguo roe, or I don't know, toss it in a sandwich or something. Besides that, we'll also be serving this with some cucumber. We used half an Asian cucumber. Then, using a vegetable peeler, slice that into similarly thick pieces. Now grab a serving plate and optionally curl those cucumber slices up to make it all pretty. Then lay a few slices of pork over the cucumber, circle them around the plate, and this is ready for sauce. So quickly assemble that sauce by grabbing your bowl of pounded garlic and adding in a 1/4 teaspoon salt, a 1/4 teaspoon MSG, and a 1/2 cup of your seasoned soy sauce. Give it a good mix, then add in a tablespoon of toasted sesame oil and a 1/4 cup of your homemade red chili oil. Brief mix, then smother that all over your pork slices. Optionally garnish with a nice handful of scallions, and your Suan Ni Bai Rou is done.
So an even more traditional way to serve Suan Ni Bai Rou is to serve hot. What you do is that dip the meat into hot boiling water for a few seconds and then mixing the hot meat pieces with the sauce. But we really like this cold version, and this is usually what you got outside, so this is what we went with. So check out the other link in the description box for detailed recipe. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon, and of course, subscribe for more Chinese cooking videos.